Okay, this video is to cover some missing information regarding the monthly book list and the yearly book list. We already covered a lot of the important stuff for the monthly book list, but just in case I've forgotten, let me just recap a little bit. Um, I only recently just discovered that when I click my menu, I can see my selection choices, but the screen recorder doesn't record this drop-down list because it's a dynamic formula that's happening here. So even though you don't see it on the video, when you click this little box here, you will see a list fall down below and you'll be able to change your choices any way that you like. And that's pretty much in any of these videos, from the student data all the way to time references. When you see this little box in the video, I'm making choices. So anyway, that has been updated. These months are coming from this list over here. They're just the calendar months, and you can't see March, April, May because these rows up here have been hidden. Those rows are hiding a formula just to protect the formula so that you don't accidentally delete something. But just to show you really quick on hide, you can see what's happening is here's the class name, but here is the level. This is the level that's in the class books headers. So therefore, this formula over here is pulling up the books that match this level that's requested. All right, so that is why you cannot see March, April, May over here. Now, if you don't have a class listed, it's going to have no results over here. Let me unhide this one more time. Something like this, a spill range. It's because it's going to give you all the data that have blanks in this page. Any of these blanks is going to show up because it's nothing. And so over here, if you have chosen nothing, it's going to try and tell you what those classes are. And the spill range is quite large. So that just keeps on going. But you don't need to see that also. So that is just going to stay hidden because it doesn't disrupt the function. It's Excel doing its job correctly. So these formulas are going to be the same formulas that we use in the yearly book list. And the yearly book list is actually, I think, more important than the monthly book list because even with the yearly book list, you're able to know what books need to be ordered. It just, you have to just remember whether or not their students are going from unit 4 into the new unit. And so they need their books this month or next month. But the yearly book list is fundamental because of a couple things. This one's kind of a generic yearly book list in the sense that when this was initially designed, it had several options, either starting with the starter class in March, New High Kids 1, or halfway through New High Kids 1, New High Kids 4, New High Kids 2, New High Kids 3. So there is some flexibility here, and you can change it. The one thing I want to caution you of is column A. In column A, beneath the headers is the formula. All right, so you can see here, there's this formula, and it's telling Excel to look at the cell above it where the level is. And when they see that level name, Excel is told to go look at table 3, which is in the class books, and read the headers, which is all this data up here. And so it'll pull these books. How fantastic. However, once we start moving, whether or not we have a starter class or a New High Kids 1.2 starting in March, then you're going to end up starting to unmerge these cells and change the size of the time that you're using these books. So in order to do that, you need to be able to have this formula move wherever you start the header. What if this New High Kids starter actually was starting in April? Let's just do an example. I'm going to put New High Kid starter 1, and I'm going to delete that and unmerge it. I'm going to actually unmerge all of these just so that I have flexibility. There we go. I'm going to put all borders around here. I'm going to delete this. All right. Now I've deleted only what was in the header. I did not delete the formula down here. but don't delete that because you need that later. So let's just say this class started in April. Well, I can take this formula right here, drag it all across the board, and it's going to apply the same rules to every cell above. So if you notice right here, you don't see the rest of the text. Everybody up start and it stops. That's because the formula was copied to every single cell. So right here, there's a formula. And if I know that this class is going to last for 2 months, I would merge this. And I would definitely start with on the left side. And I would delete the formula from here. All right. I would also merge this and I would put New High Kid Starter. Oops. New High Kids Starter 2. Right? And here's our formula. And again, this formula in column E is interrupting our text. I want to be able to see our text. When you see a 0 here, this is part of the formula. This is because beneath these books in the class books list over here, there is empty cells. So Excel is going to only return unique values. And so there's a whole bunch of blanks. So that's why it's showing a 0. If you don't want to see that, go over here and click your format painter and select all the way across, and it will tell Excel if you see 0, put it in white font. And that's just so that you don't see it. It doesn't come out on the print. It's just a cleaner way to show things. So that is what that is about. I just like to have no borders for those things. Okay, and I like to have outer borders for that. Yes. Okay, after New High Kids Starter, we have New High Kids 1. And this is for 4 months. Merge, keep to the left, give myself a box around it. And then here, New High Kids 2. And merge to the left, put a box around it. And then you would need to make sure you delete the formulas over here. And this is just so that you can see the text. All right. Now, it is important to do all of this as early as possible, like get your yearly plan. Of course, maybe in July you have a New High Kid Starter class starting. Who knows? However, this is what I do want to discuss. When you have a class that is not finishing in February perfectly, it does set the next year to be a little bit inconvenient. So when you do the year at a glance, you're actually doing 2 years at a glance. One is at a glance and one is in your brain. So you really do want to basically calculate this class. How is it going to finish the next year? If they are in New High Kids 2.4 in March, then they're going to be in New High Kids 3 over here, and then New High Kids 4 over here. Then they would have New High Kids 5 for the next year. Oh, keep going because they're going to end in 1 month and we got to figure out build up. So here we go. This would be the following year, New High Kids 5.4. Well, we have to get build up started pretty much in July. So in order for them to finish 2 levels of build up, they typically start in March, July, and November. So if they're going to hit build up 1 in July, they have April, May, and June. That would be a little bit awkward. So there's a couple ways you could do this. When they finish New High Kids 5.3, stop it. Like we just don't teach that 4th unit in March. And then you could teach directly from Build Up 1. However, if they want to finish their books, especially if they are quite young students, maybe you want to hit pre-build up. Usually pre-build up is only 2 months. However, we have taught pre-build up for 3 months, and that has been accomplished by, in the student book and practice book, taking the writing component out of lesson 369 and making the writing on its own class day. We've also added storybooks and used storybooks into the lesson. And I think perhaps the Korean teacher also taught a grammar book. Perhaps they taught like the vocabulary book and a grammar book, I believe. So those are some options. However, since you're planning the level right now, my recommendation is don't begin a starter class in April, even if they're late. Actually, try to start it in May, because if you start the starter class in May, then you would have eventually New High Kids 5.3 in March, 5.4 in April, pre-build up in May, pre-build up in June, and then you don't have to get an extra storybook or an extra grammar book. And then they could easily move into build up from July. So this portion of your planning, I do think, is actually really beneficial because you can see long term, where are you going? Sometimes you're going to add a class that we don't even have the books yet. For example, the thumbs up. In this situation, I would recommend copying both a header and all the white cells below it. Just copy all of those rows. Click the top row and insert copy cells. This is going to create identical data. But here, now you can put thumbs up. Oh, and make sure it's without the space. Thumbs up 1A. All right. And now you're going to see the data has changed to what we had entered in class books earlier. Of course, this data is not going to be there when you get the file because you need to actually check what books you're ordering and such. However, for the sake of this video, we already know that thumbs up, each book lasts only 2 months. So we know thumbs up 1A, you're right here. And then we know thumbs up 1B, you're right here for 2 months. Do that to the left. This one's going to be thumbs up 2A, thumbs up 2B, thumbs up 3A, thumbs up 3B. And that is how you're going to accomplish that. Obviously, I don't have books in the system for these groups yet, but that's fine. That's something that you would have to do anyway. How to make sure you have this formula underneath. Just go over here. You could drag it across like we did before. However, you could also just copy it and paste it. Excel is smart enough to just simply change the reference. So even though my reference here was A17, since I didn't put dollar signs and make this an absolute reference, when I copy and paste it to another location, Excel automatically changes your cell reference. So you're good to go with that. Again, here you see that we have a 0. The formatting is not showing up. That's fine. Go here, take your format paintbrush, and just paint over the whole section and you'll get it to be identical to what you chose earlier. And I want no borders for that. All right, and that is how you would set yourself up for success regarding that. I do think that a lot of these options down here are pretty much generic. I think that you can use them and obviously start your classes where you can. If you already have a class that has finished build up 1, go ahead and move them to build up 2 and build up 3. So you can edit that right here just by changing this number to 2. Go to the next one. You can change this to 3 and then this one to 4. All right. And you're going to automatically get the books that you want. Probably for Citius, Altius, and Fortius, you won't need to change these. These are like in a generic position. For your middle schoolers, maybe you want to revisit their books, especially for Korean teachers' books. For the kindergartners, I'll just remind you that this list of storybooks that are here, these are choices. if you look at the lesson plan, I think the lesson plan just says like storybook, and you can choose to add whatever you want. However, I know that the lesson plan is focusing predominantly on apple juice. But these storybooks can be fun. The advantage of having a list is that you know whatever list is in March, it's not going to be in May. These are just like showed up ones, so that when you are ordering your Kindie list, you can choose any storybook from this list without worrying about whether or not they already studied this book. So, okay. I think that is all I can say about that. Have fun building this the way you want. Don't delete these formulas from the first cell, but if you do, make sure you just copy from another one and paste it up there. Another place to find this formula is going to be under the monthly book list and the teacher's class list. All right, let me just show you that one really quick. Unhide teacher's class list, because I think it's not on my video there yet. This page should be protected by the time you get it, but here the teacher just needs to enter their name, and it will reflect whether or not they're teaching at 240, 325, 410. Not only what the class is and who is in the class, whether it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, but also their books. So this is like an ideal tool to use at the beginning of March. Pretty much after you have planned their schedules on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Tuesday, Thursday, then set up their teacher's class list and just go ahead and print whatever you need so that you can hand this to the teacher, so that the teacher can then therefore go and just print out their homework checklists and lesson plans as they need. If the class is not showing any books, you probably would have already noticed that under the yearly book list or the monthly book list, but sometimes it might be intentional if a new book has not arrived yet. Make sure that there is communication and planning how to get that book into your class books list and the master LP datasheet. And that's it. I hope all of that was informative.